Do you think I'm going to sit here and act like because our manager got a result against Pep Guardiola with Sporting Lisbon that I'm going to act like this is some sort of a massive moral victory or otherwise for Manchester United? Is that what you really think I'm going to do? If that's what you think I'm going to do, you're absolutely right, because of course I'm going to do that. I didn't watch the game, so I've only caught the highlights of it this morning. We were training at the same time. But when I tell you the entire gaff, everybody that was on the sideline was on the phones. And we're like, oh, it's what all. It's 3-1. All night getting the updates. So what does it actually, does it mean anything? And what does it actually potentially mean for us, for Sporting, for City? So Foden scores an early goal. Okay, we've been here before. City probably going to go win this 6-0. Didn't mean anything anyway. It's not United. Don't care. But then Sporting really started to disrupt the momentum. They played well defensively. Obviously played without the ball in a big way. There was a lot of pressing. And they kept City under pressure without the ball. And City's backline seemed mad vulnerable. By the way, how bad are they without Rodri? It's almost unfathomable how bad they are without Rodri, isn't it? Gyökeres obviously scores a hat-trick, 2 penalties in that. Don't matter, still got to put the ball in the back of the net. He's obviously clinical. Makes him only the 3rd player to score a hat-trick against City in the Champions League. Messi was one of the other ones. And then maybe less excitingly, it was Nkunku. His positioning, his pace, his composure in front of goal, it was good to see. The system was good to see. And obviously United in recent years have beaten City, beaten the FA Cup final in May. And we've beaten them before at the Etihad, playing off on the back foot, using clinical finishing to our advantage. Obviously, Erling Haaland missed a penalty. It was a bit of a big moment, actually, and psychologically, probably a little bit of a big moment in the game. They look good. When they got on the ball, the transition, the fluidity in the transitions, it was good. There's been some pundit reactions. Rio come out and said, talking about Gyökeres as a potential United striker, saying he's the sort of player that we've been missing. Spoke about Amorim's intensity, tactical innovation. So he's the type of manager that could get the best out of United's front line, especially in the big games. I'm still on the fence with that, to be honest with you. I don't think United's front line is capable. And I'm not sure that that Amorim will get the best out of this front line. I think we're going to have to go to the market. Genuinely, I think we're going to have to go to the market to get some players in. I'm going to see what you guys are saying in the comments in a second. Graham says Gyökeres looks like a proper player. Notch says he also fucked up an early chance for her own goal. Jama says City played an 18-year-old at centre half. So. Callie says was good to see. You just said he didn't watch the game. Yeah, I said I didn't watch the game. I watched it this morning. Pay attention. Matt says, how do I feel about Xerxes? One of the number 10s or inside forwards. I don't think so. I don't think that's going to work like that. Stephen says, Højlund will get 30 goals in that Sporting team. Possibly. CTB says, shows how much love he has at Sporting to have a positive send-off instead of an FU, you're leaving. Yeah. Ipiana says, hey Steve, Ruben says United won't play like Sporting. Does it give Ten Hag vibes or is it just the reality? I think it's just the reality, to be honest. I do wonder how he's going to tailor this squad. He might get to the Premier League and go, yeah, that formation and that system worked really well in Portugal, but yeah, I don't think the Premier League suits that. He might say that. We have no idea. Do we win the league under Amorim, yes or no? Genuinely, I believe it's down more to Ineos than it's going to be down to Amorim. Alex says Sporting were a bit fortunate in the first half, to be fair. Doesn't matter. Football's about that sometimes. Kath Sub says, I don't know whether our players will be ready to play with the intensity Sporting are playing in the coming years. I'm really scared for the new manager, hoping for the best. Well, here's the thing, right? From Ralph Ragnick to, well, Ollie to Ralph Ragnick to even Jose. Jose let us play off the back foot a little bit. And we was bottom of all of those little tables, weren't we, where it's like running stats and stuff. Ollie came in, and I heard from one of the players, one of the things that he said in his first training session was, I would make us the fastest and most aggressive team, talking about pressing, in Europe. Now, did he? No, he didn't. So why didn't he then? If he came in with the intention to do that, why didn't he do that? Ralph Ragnick is literally the author of that school. He couldn't make us do it. Eric Ten Hag was kind of known for it. He couldn't make us do it. You've brought in another manager now. Can he make us do it? Like, what's the common denominator in it? So that when I say I think Ineos are going to have more of a say in this, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I go, they've got to bring in the right players. There will be a period of time where we have to go through transition because this squad is not ready to just accept that style of play. It doesn't have the personnel. Sam B says, seeing TalkSport saying it means nothing doesn't exactly hurt, does it, being top of the tree in the league he's going to? No. But TalkSport were never going to be like, wow, I guess that lad's really good then. They're never going to do that. James says he said he can't play like that at United. He was implying he can't be defensive and play counter-attack at United in big games. Meaning he was wanting to turn us into the dominating side. If that's what he meant, then that's what he meant. To be honest, I think you can play on the counter. Like, I think it's completely unrealistic to think anywhere in the next couple of years that United will just suddenly start dominating the likes of City and Liverpool and Arsenal. It's just not going to happen. The players are not there to do it. They're just not. Ira Veer says, I genuinely feel like Amorim checks all the important boxes, tactics and aura equals Sir Alex. I do wonder on that, yeah. I think there isn't many people that have the personality. I was looking at, some of the options that we've got, and I think personality at Manchester United is a big one. I think it is a big one. Snapper says, Howson, you're the same guy who's going to call for Amorim to get sacked next year. Chill out a bit. Okay, please point me to any time that you've seen me say a Manchester United manager should be sacked. Any time. I've been doing content now for like 10 years. Could you please just pull up a video and show me where I said he needs sacking? I'll wait. I'll wait here while you go do that, okay? Is that all right? Okay, thank you. Andrew says, a few people saying we can't play counter are choosing to ignore that. Ollie smashed almost every significant team by doing that, and we all fucking loved him for it. At the end of the day, you got to win games. No one gives a shit how you win games as long as you win them. People start go, wait a minute, when you start not winning those games. Thoughts on Edu leaving Arsenal? I haven't really looked into it that much. I did see something along the lines of Arsenal offered him 3x his wages, and he still said no. That's interesting. Ipiana says, hearing the Branthwaite rumours again, you're going to love this. Does it mean anything for Leisha? I hope not. Notch says, I have a horrible feeling Liverpool fans will be insufferable next season, not Arsenal fans. I will take some solace in that if Liverpool do end up getting back to the top, and it could just be a bit of a flash in the pan. They haven't really played anyone. They do look good, I will admit that. But imagine how funny it is that Arsenal have had this little resurgence while Liverpool was having a bit of a time off. City have managed to rack up all of these titles without actually being that good, really. Arsenal have been absolutely lavering themselves up about stuff, and they haven't won fuck all. I fucking love it. T-Dub says, Amorim needs time, and the media and pundits can't give the identity bollocks. This guy will bring it. Maybe. United Indian says, we don't have a player who likes to keep the ball for more than 5 seconds. There's not many players who keep the ball for 5 seconds, I don't think. Andrew says, Steve, your Insta earlier really showed the graph paying off. Spray tan, maybe not necessary. I haven't had a spray tan. Do I look like I've had a spray tan? Look at me. Pep to Saudi, here we go, says Aaron. Adam says, if we play 3-4-3, Bruno is going to struggle to fit the system. I don't necessarily think he is going to struggle to fit the system. I think one of the dual tens. I've got a video coming out later this week. I'm not sure what day because it's quite graphic heavy in terms of like we're doing the motion graphics things. I recorded it yesterday, so I think we've slated it for Saturday. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see what it comes out as. But I sort of explain what all the different positions are. So stay tuned for that one. Stephen says Liverpool have been lucky in games and no injuries. That's true. Jordan says, can we not just sign 11 sporting players? I'll name a podcast later. Says Steve, why is the press so hard up for the whole he speaks good English? I don't know. That was a weird one. That whole Gary Cottrell thing was really distasteful, I thought. Teggy says City, all in capitals by the way, City dominated first half, relax. Okay, cool. It doesn't matter because they got pumped. You know, I literally got a text off my dad last night saying, how do you have 72% possession and lose 4-1? And my reply to him is, well, we had 72% possession earlier in the season. Not United, but Paddock had a 72% possession earlier in the season and lost fucking 3-1. And I think the opposition had 5 shots. It can happen. John says, I need to put Neville on blast. He was shocking on Sunday. I've not, obviously I was at the game, so I've not heard it. But yeah, I'd seen a lot of people saying stuff like that. Richard says, look in Trimsty, you find the gym again. Do you know what? On this, there's a lot of people say stuff like that, right? And it's a mad misconception. The whole get to the fucking gym. Now, I've been fat basically for the entire time I've been on YouTube, right? So I get that sort of thing quite regular. I'm probably not really in the gym any more than I have been for the entire time you've seen me. Like, I've always been active. You know, all that's happened is I've taken the Red Bull out of my diet and it's given me like an extra 1,000 calorie deficit. And the weight's falling off me because of it. Yes, there's been some other changes along the way, but by and large, I'm not really doing any more exercise than I was. Maybe a little bit more consistent, maybe a little bit more of a priority, but we're talking a percentage increase rather than an overhaul here. The difference is the Red Bull. Apex says, do I see similarities in Keres and Højlund? I think their profiles are alike. Yes. I mean, I wouldn't call them the same for sure, but no, there's similarities. What I like about Keres is when you can thrive in the Championship, I think you're a good player. And that's it. I genuinely believe that the Championship is a bloody good league. But yeah, that was that. Notch says, maybe adding more cardio as much as the weights. When I've done cardio consistently, I do see the weight come off. But what's consistency? Because the only other time I've seen a drastic drop in my weight to the same level as this, I lost about 30 pounds when I did the 457. That was 30 pounds in 6 weeks when I was doing the 457 march. And that was doing 10 kilometers of weighted marches. And I was doing that every morning. But and I wasn't tracking my calories or checking my calories in the fucking slightest in that. I was smashing pizzas in just to have the energy to keep doing it. Jeremy says, I hate how coaches are rated to be very good coaches if you speak good English and if you're nice with the journalist or how they communicate with the cameras. Sadly, there is a PR game afoot, and that's how it works. Jensen says, hi Steve, my partner and I are going to our first tainted game. Is that the right word there? Against Everton. Where's the best place for the best experience? First tainted game. I think, is that wrong? I'd get in the Trafford before the game, or the Bishops, or even hotel football, and it's all good, man. Junior James says, better weight loss makes the Defender a bit more comfortable to ride in. No one has a Land Rover Defender for comfort. And no, it's not really at the moment, because I think the clutch is going. It's not going in second gear, which is not good. Patchy says, cardio good for fitness, not for fatness. Calorie deficit for the win. Very simplistic, but pretty fucking accurate. Alex says, I run 50k a week and still put on weight when I eat bad. Yep. I don't want to turn this into a fucking weight loss episode, but it is what it is. Soka says, better off having a protein diet. Well, so I track my calories in MyFitnessPal at the moment, and I'm aiming to do 200 grams of protein a day. I typically miss. I typically end up with about 180. But yeah, when I do a few things, so my weight is, I'll show you the graph. Because, I mean, the graph's nice, to be honest. I'm 213 today, which means I've lost 54 pounds since D-Day. If this graph shows up on the camera, because it's usually a bit too bright to see. But it's the last 6 months, it's been... Let me just check if that's even visible on the camera. The last 6 months has been... is it too bright? Can you see it? So it's just coming down real nice. Which way is it? That way? That way? That way. It's gone nice. And my projection is to be 196 in the next 30 days. When I do a few things, like if I track my calories and I have my protein and I do gym fasted in the morning and get some cardio in, I wake up lighter the next day. It's fucking as simple as that. And because I've stacked it over, 14, 15, 16 week now, yeah, it's starting to show. SC Biscuit says you don't need that much protein. Maybe you don't. But when I do that, it works. Kian says, don't know if Paddock are doing a live show in Dublin at the end of the year. Was raging we missed it last year. We haven't discussed it, so with it being so close, I wouldn't have thought so. Wild Dependent says, or Will Dependent, does it annoy you that players can't have a bad game anymore and reactionary twats in the comments call for their heads every game? Yeah. I mean, it happens with managers. Like, a team will lose a game and it's always the manager, and be like, it's not always the case. Sometimes the manager did fuck all wrong, and the players have got to do better. But over a larger time scale, yeah, okay, it's the manager has to make sure he delivers results. What's my take on the election? No opinion on it either way, to be honest with you. I didn't think there was great options either way. Notch says history dictates United win titles when Howson is slimmer. That is true. That is true. Danny Sabas said you can certainly outtrain a bad diet. I would say you can, yeah. I think my diet when I was fatsty, or fattersty, because I'm still fat, was infinitely better, Red Bull aside, okay, let's caveat that, than when I was in the army and I had abs. Like, when I was in the army, my fucking diet was horrendous, and I would guarantee you, there's probably a little bit more of a movement with like the popularity of things like CrossFit and High Rocks at the minute. There's probably a little bit more of a gym routine, sort of a movement in the army. But a lot of soldiers' diets horrendous, absolutely horrendous. So yeah, you can absolutely out-train a bad diet, because I would hasten to say there's probably 50,000 soldiers right now out-training a bad diet. Andrew says, did Jay not have hair when United last won a title? No, he didn't. I think he was bald when we last won the title. How do you find out your BMR? Says Ronaldo Brown. So what I did was, so I lost a little bit of weight when I went on a family holiday to Spain. And all I did there was track. And the reason I was losing was I was tracking. And what I've done is I've tracked everything from 2,400, 2,200, 2,000, 1,800, 1,600, and even 1,500 calories a day. And I've kept on that sort of level for about 2 weeks at a time. And I can see me stuff going up, stuff going down. And what I also don't do is I don't add in. So if I go and smash out a hike, like a big old hike, like a 20k, 25k hike, all of your apps and that will tell you that you've burnt 1,500 calories or something like that, especially if it's a big 6-hour one, maybe even more like 2,000 calories. But I don't add in any of my exercise stuff onto like, all right, so now I can eat 4,000 calories today because like that's just a bonus. Like at the minute, I'm on quite what a lot of people will consider quite low, right? I'm on about 1,500 a day. But when I tell you I'm not hungry, like I eat salads, I eat chicken, and I eat rice, and I can live on that and be fine. And today I'm gonna have tuna, right? But I'm not. I'm eating like quite dense shit. I'm not eating really much sugar and all that sort of stuff. It's one of those. So I figured out my BMR by basically seeing at what levels I gained weight and what level I lost weight. Now, when I was like 260 pound, which is like what 18 stone or something like that, people will tell you that your BMR is meant to be like 3,500 calories a day. But if I ate 3,500 calories, I'd put weight on. So my BMR wasn't that. So what I did was I tracked what I thought it was, and I think my BMR is actually about 2,000. Which I know people will be like, "Oh, you aren't men supposed to be like 2,500 regardless?" Yeah, maybe they are, but my weight did not move when I was hitting 2,000 a day. If I went to 2,400, my weight would go up. So I was like, right, okay, somewhere in there is what my BMR is. So I just went, right, well, let's go right under that, and then it comes out. Wetbird says, Steve, you must surely fit in a Greg's. I'm not saying, the only thing I'm saying no to is Red Bull. That's it. That's the only thing that I've taken out. I'm still having beer. Like, not every fucking night, obviously, because that would put me over my thingy. But, you know, we went to the Lake District the other day. I think I had a beer every day, you know, or a couple of beers every day. We ate out at a barbecue place this weekend, fucking pulled pork and ribs and all that sort of shit. Like, I just write it down, and at the end of the week, see where my fucking thingy is. Job's a good one. A Petty says, can we get a scouting report for Al Nouri doing well in a struggling Wolves side? Yeah, that might not be a bad option for us. I do struggle with buying players from the Premier League as a good idea because I think you get absolutely battered on it. What's my opinion on destination weddings? Well, every wedding's a destination wedding if you think about it, mate. Innit? Ruben says it takes just 10 to 14 days to overcome sugar addiction. It's surviving the 10 days that is near impossible with sugar being in everything. I actually don't think I'm having a lot of sugar at all now. And I noticed it. So on Sunday I didn't eat until I got home. And when I got home, I could barely eat. And I mentioned to my dad during the match, oh, I haven't fucking eaten today. And he went and got me a Snickers. And I ate a Snickers, and I was like, that tastes fucking weird, man. And that's what I've noticed since I've got off the Red Bull and I'm not really having any sugar. It all tastes really fucking weird. What's the drink that I mentioned on IRL? It's out of stock at the moment. I think either I bought it all or you lot have bought it all. But it's the mango and dragon fruit optimize. From a company called Combat Fuel. United Indian says, I would love Anthony Robinson. Yes, I think Anthony Robinson would be fantastic for it. Notch says, depends on how much carbs or complex carbs you have. Yeah, I'm not really having a lot of carbs at all. Really not. It's like a salad for lunch, and then I have 100 grams of rice with 360 grams of chicken. It's not a lot of carbs. It's happy days. Have I tried tennis? No. I would look at myself getting fucking dressed up and call myself a Tory prick, and I'd have to fucking go home. I couldn't do it. Ian says, should young players have a minutes cap for the first 3 or 4 seasons of their career so we don't see a burnout, either season total or a certain... No. You can't start legislating that sort of stuff. I think you just have to tell clubs that they have to be more fucking mindful. Can Robinson play left wing back? I think he could, yeah. BM says Gary Cottrell did the same for Slot in the weeks before he joined Liverpool. They literally followed him around, demanding he answer his questions. What a fucking chode, honestly. Casper says, looking forward to watching us beat the crap out of PAOK tomorrow. We should. We should, shouldn't we? Stephen Harris says, is the weight loss in preparation for the zombie apocalypse? I'll be honest with you, this wasn't a conscious decision to lose weight. It wasn't. There was no... So right now, I'm £54 down in 5 months, which is... It's mega, innit? It's nearly £11 a month for 5 months. It's a lot. It's a fucking hell of a lot. But it wasn't a conscious decision. I didn't go, right, let's fucking sort this out. Now, as most fucking calorie-dense human beings will know, we all fucking want to lose weight. But it wasn't like, okay, I'm definitely fucking doing it this time. It was just a case of over the last couple of years. So, for those who don't know, I had a fucking serious mental health wobble a few years ago. Like a proper one. And since then, I've kind of slowly ticked things and turned things over that were going wrong. This isn't... This has been a probable fucking 3-4 year journey to sort of to make decisions the way I am now. That was started with therapy. That started with, which I didn't do a lot of. I did a little bit of that. I booked myself an operation to get a calf issue that I'd had for years dealt with. I went private for it. Got my calf operation done. Come out of the calf operation and did the 4-5-7. Developed plantar fasciitis by doing that. That took a little bit of time to get fixed. Then I had some injections to sort of resolve the plantar fasciitis. And in that, all of these processes, I was doing all sorts of different stuff. And obviously, I have the IRL channel while I'm out doing all of these hikes. We've been doing that for years. Started filming them. And wanting to push myself on those sort of fitness challenges and shit. And I've been sort of moving towards those things, sort of re-engaged with the military in a way, and my identity as a veteran, as a soldier. And in the summer, I started doing physio to help with my calf problem. For about a year, I've been doing daily mobility, where I have a set program that takes me fucking ages every single day to free up my ankle. I broke my ankle while I was in the army, and I had a calf problem from when I was in the army. But to free those things up and to get them looser, I do that every morning. It takes about fucking 30 minutes. And then, from the physio to this, that, other, I knew the amount of Red Bull I was on was not a fucking good idea. I knew it was probably going to fucking kill me, give me diabetes or a combination of the two at some point in life. And I knew I wanted to get off them, and I tried a few times. It just hadn't worked. And then I tried that Optimize. I've literally got an empty bottle of it here. I tried the Optimize, and I was like, oh shit, that works. And I ordered a tub. The tub came, and I was like, right, let me see if I can go 2 days. I could not go a day without a Red Bull. I couldn't go a day. So I was like, right, and I went a day because there was no shops near me when I was on a course in the summer. So I was like, let me just fucking try this shit. And I went and I did a weekend where I didn't have a single Red Bull. And it was the week before we were going to America for pre-season. And I went, oh, do you know what? I'm going to take this shit with me, and I'm gonna see if I can get off the Red Bull. Because if I can get off Red Bull in America, where the food's horrendous and the quality of the food is horrendous, I'm gonna be jet lagged. We're probably gonna go out on a piss a couple of times. Those are all the triggers for, let me get a Red Bull in. So I was like, right, let me just fucking see if I can do it. So I took the tub of Optimize with me, and actually ran out of it while we was over there, and ended up trying to blag it with pre-workouts and stuff like that for the last couple of days, which didn't really work. And I managed to not have a Red Bull for, I think it was like 18 days by the time we got home. I hadn't had a Red Bull, and I was like, there we go. I'm off the Red Bull. Carried on drinking the Optimize, but what are we now? We've got a. I mean, at some point you might all get to see the state of this spreadsheet because it's absolutely ridiculous. But I am currently 110 days of no Red Bull. So it's going well, obviously. And I wanted to stop the Red Bull. Yes, you always kind of want to lose the timber, but like, I just wanted to stop the Red Bull. A consequence of stopping the Red Bull, and it's only when you stop and you start to see the fucking weight start coming off. I lost like 8 pounds in a week, and I was like, oh right, and that's probably inflammation, sugar, that sort of shit, right? But then the weight loss just seemed to happen. And obviously, when you start stacking up the days and you start thinking about it and you start looking back, you go, yeah, all right, shit. And then you start adding it up. So on the Red Bull video we did, I've said, let's just take it that it was 6 Red Bull a day, 355 mil. Let's just say it was 6. That's 960 calories. But actually, when I think about it, it probably wasn't fucking 6. It was probably 7 or 8. Because I could smash 2 in on the way to work, not even think about it. And then there was no way I was only doing 2 in at work. It'd be 3 or 4. And then I'd easily get a couple on the way home, fucking smash them. And I might even have one. And like, 10 genuinely couldn't have been, like, 10 could have been pretty fucking regular, to be honest with you. So I stopped them. I got off them. I'm off the sugar. And I think the weight loss was a consequence of that. It's one of them, innit? So yeah, so people are laughing. Stop talking about optimize, you sell out. For starters, it's not spelt with a Z, it's spelt with an S. I actually have spoken to Combat Fuel since. They've seen the video, and they do want to make me an affiliate. I'm not one yet, but I will be soon, so fucking check that one out. MBFC now says, I'd have huge heart palpitations. Your heart is a tank. Yeah, my heart is in pretty decent nick. My cardio's pretty good. Am I noticing it in my bank account and all? No, not really. How the hell did I afford that many Red Bulls? Well, I don't smoke or anything like that, and it's just one of those. Charlie says, afternoon, go. Afternoon. Rob says, let's hope Amorim can take this team, get this team working again. This is my worry. Yeah. It's so much of a culture shock that I don't know. There are some newer players, obviously, to the Ollie and the Ragnick days, but there's also still a lot of players that need moving on. Gurpeat says Steve only does this for the free stuff from the sponsors. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing, mate. I can't tell if that's sarcastic or a serious comment. They've never given me a free one. I mean, there might be some free ones coming. I don't know. But no, I've spent fucking hundreds on this so far. I've gone through tons of tubs of it, but I'm not asked because it's probably about a quarter of the price of Red Bull. Andrew says Steve's not noticing the Red Bulls because he's added the expense of replacing broken Land Rover bits. Yeah, the chassis swap is fucking pricey. We've got to figure that one in it. Did I see Amorim coming in as a Ten Hag alternative if he's sacked? We did speak about Amorim as a potential future United manager, and I did so on Off the Bar probably about only 2 weeks beforehand. I think it was the episode where Tuchel had just been signed. So we were like, right, who's available now? And I think one of the things I said was like, there's probably only Amorim really that you go, okay. I'll be honest with you, even with Amorim and even with last night, I'm not that excited. And the reason I'm not that excited is because, okay, yes, he's got a clear tactical identity, and yes, his team plays fantastic football, scores loads of goals. They've got a guy scoring goals. They've got a system that works. It's something that's had to be developed. Has United got a squad to do that? I don't know if there's the players in this squad are capable of producing massively more than what they have done in terms of goals, at least. So while I think you might see an identity, I don't know if the results change drastically straight away. I hope they do, but I don't know if they do. Stephen says, I think Amorim was agreed this summer, not last month. It's possible. Jed says Holland could be magic under him. Yeah, it could be shit. Avishek says this guy was found by the roles of Ashworth and Wilcox. Question is, can Ashworth become Cashworth? I think you need to. We're going to need a loan, aren't we? In January, we're going to have to get someone in on loan for sure. John says, in other news, how good is Mazraoui? So underrated by the media. Genuinely, I think he's fucking incredible. Like, I'm genuinely in love with him. And I don't know where Mazraoui fits into that system either, to be honest with you. Genuinely don't know how he fits in. Indian United says, United Indian even says, Steve, one question. How can a player sack 3 or 4 managers and still play for the club, but only managers are the failures? It's true. Yeah, it's true. Snap says, fact is, Steve, doesn't matter how good the manager is, if the player's not held to the highest standards, any player's not performing or having a poor attitude, it's unbecoming of a big club. Yep. James says, with Sporting players, not United's shite squad. Yeah, on that. John says, Amorim says, no, your carers in winter. Yeah, you can't do that. They'd also absolutely have your pants down. They would. Rob says, the fact is he will be their man. He will be given time and trusted to buy and sell who he deems necessary. I think that's important. I do think that's important that he is given the opportunity. And that's what I said at the start of the video. I actually think Ineos are going to have way more of a say in whether he is successful or not as a Manchester United manager than he is. Because if they can provide him the platform, the time, the support, the recruitment, then there'll be happy days. Andrew says, Mazraoui fits perfectly for wing-back for me. I don't think it's even a question that he starts there over the low. I absolutely think it is, to be honest. I think his natural instinct is to be a slightly more defensive, and I actually think that they'd probably go with a more offensive fullback than Mazraoui. Paula says, stop swearing. It's hard to listen to. There's only one reply to that, Paula. Let's go fuck yourself. Stephen says, Maguire leaking to the press about staying to impress Amorim. His agent needs to fucking get another client, doesn't he, and just get a fucking job. LDT says, United have spent 100 on 2 strikers. Gakera is coming to United. Is not coming to United, I'm afraid. Yeah, fact. Miles says, already licking the balls of Amorim after his Sporting team, not United, beat City. Yeah, of course we are. You not watch the start of the fucking video? Does anyone know the stats on how long Ashworth tends to give managers? I don't, I'm afraid. Where is Luke Shaw? It's a bloody good question, isn't it? Mackenzie says, the fact he's coming in as a coach and not manager is interesting. Wonder if that'll be a turning point in success. I do think football has evolved in a certain way. And even though people are like, oh, Fergie was a manager and he was in charge of everything. Yes and no. Fergie was more of a director of football that kind of picked the team than what people would consider the normal head coach. I wonder when the last time Fergie was on the grass with the lads, taking a session, standing in the middle of the session, correcting stuff, I don't reckon that's happened since Archie Knox went, probably. So you're looking at, what, 1991? So Fergie, maybe for his first 4 or 5 seasons at United, probably was on the grass. After that, he didn't do that. And he was on top of recruitment. And he was on top of the academy coming through. And he was on top of, like, what does my starting 11 look like in 5 years? But that's not the role of a manager or a head coach, as they would be called now. So, yeah. Rami says, Ollie did a lot by his character and tactics. Amorim's character is highly spoken of, so maybe a better balance with the team. Players should either shape up or ship out. Yeah, and on that, I would like Ruud to be kept around. And I know obviously it's going to be up to them lads, but it's one of those. Alex says, what moment, football and non-football related, would I like to relive for a day? The last 10 days. So 16th of May to the 26th of May, 1999, we'll do that again all day long. And knowing that, listen, you might only be 16 here now, or 15. It's not actually going to get better than this. Who was I talking to this? Even me, even my mate Stu or my mate Ben, I was chatting to this about the other day, and I said, like, go back and just think, knowing that treble season, going into it at the start of the season, knowing what's going to happen, like, just get transported back to that year, that season, and just be like, right, listen, genuinely, it will not be any better than this ever again. Drink it in and enjoy it. I'd have been like, all right, cool, let's do that. And I'd have enjoyed the fuck out of it still. Non-footballing moment. I don't know. I don't know about that. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know about that. Abner says, I do like the idea of having a head coach in Amorim and then the other assistant coaches that specialise in attack or defence, and Ruud being a strikers coach. Ross says, Noel Gallagher almost close to tears in commentary was so funny. Why was Noel on commentary? What was all that about, by the way? What next? Ed Sheeran when Ipswich are playing? What the fuck? Anyways, I'm going to wrap it up. But cheers for joining us, as always. Ellie says, do I still have the CWC from my deployment times? If so, which model? It wasn't a CWC. It was a Pulsar. And it was the chronograph version. I've seen them on eBay. I think they're either really cheap or they're really not cheap. I can't remember which way it was, but it was a Pulsar. Mick Hucknall was up for the next United game. Could do a video on Amorim's coaches. We could, yeah, that'd be not a bad idea. Yeah. Steven says City's bench is better than most first teams. Yeah, easily. Anyways, right, like I said, I'm going to wrap it up, but cheers as always, everybody. Hope you have a good day. Get done what you need to get done. Take it easy and all that shit, and I'll see you in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.